What's up, everybody? This is Edward back with another video, another episode of Everybody Hates Black Man. I'm your host, Edward Anderson. This is another experiment with StreamYard, but this is I'm actually on my phone. So this will be real cool because this gives us the opportunity for me to bring some of you all up, if I want to. So this is cool. Yeah, what's up? She hate me. Yeah, so I can do a lot of really cool things with this. And I'm gonna take this. I actually downloaded quite a few videos, and I'm gonna try to do some uploads. Really get in the habit of doing that. That way, people can absorb this, share this. Shout out to Compassionate Callus for all the work that he does, but also clipping some of my videos. I'm definitely gonna start putting that stuff on the I don't know, like shorts list. I don't know. Probably I don't know. I gotta think of where I want to put those on. I'll be going hard on those videos. People be getting emotional. But we'll see. I may remake them and then we do them in a different way. But his is always really good. Let's see. Oh yeah, this is gonna give me some opportunity to do some real good shit. I'm trying to find the banners right now. And I definitely want to get into, like I said, that I meant what I said about that Discord. So we are definitely about to start pushing that Discord hard, real hard, pause, because I really have a really strong vision for that Discord. And it's not in I want to have I want that Discord. Obviously, I'm not even just talking about mine. I want that master Discord I want that shit to be like 10,000 strong. Like I want that to be really, really strong. Not just kind of strong, but like really, really strong. Let me see. See some of these layouts. Okay, this is the overlays. Okay. Okay. Oh yeah, this is gonna be good. I know a lot of y'all don't like the verbal. Oh yeah, this is gonna be good. I know a lot of y'all don't like the verbal. Let me see. The only thing I'm worried about is can I add yeah, it's supposed to low key snow. Looks like it's just gonna be more on the freezing rain side of the game. Actually, I know what I'm about to do. I'm sitting here driving, fiddling my phone, because that's the safe thing to do. Also, I need to do some research. Any of y'all that's been looking into that the Congresswoman Omar shit, like definitely let me know about that because that's some interesting shit with the Somalis and shit like that. Um, because they on one talking about 3,000 years ago, Minnesota was promised to us. I'm like, what the fuck are you all talking about? But I'm gonna do my own research on that. Okay, so you can move this around. Oh, that's cool. What's up, Forever Bless? What's up, Michael Ross? Been a minute. Django Geek. Been snowing in the DMV all day. Yeah, I'm only 4 hours. I'm only 4 hours below you. Yeah, Minnesota. Fuck Minnesota. I don't know why. I be thinking white people be trolling black black people with that shit. Minnesota. You put black people in Minnesota, but hey, they made it work. So you got that going. That's going to be lumped into the Tether talk. I'm probably going to talk about the gender war endgame, which is going to be lumped into the Tether talk. Recording in progress, teleprompter. brand, invite guests. I'm trying to see like how do I put shit on here. I mean, you got young motherfuckers saying that, like they really saying that shit too. They really trying to stand on that. I'm like, are you all fucking retarded? The last thing I'm trying to do is see how to add a video. And these pre-recordeds are good too, man, because with these pre-recordeds, I might be able to record some shit directly from my phone. My bad. I'm sitting there pressing that bullshit. Don't worry about that last clip. Loop. I watched a video, by the way, that showed like what the script was for training day. So like what the script actually said versus what Denzel did. And yo, man, Denzel, like that's being shit. That shit he be talking about like he's a stage actor first. You can definitely tell when you see what them scripts be so big. Like it be like, yo, that script. And look, writing a script, I've seen like the process of it. It's not an easy thing. So let me say that. But them scripts be so fucking basic, yo. Them scripts they be doing be fucking outlines. That shit don't be. That's why now I see why Marvel shit always looking stupid as fuck. I'm sitting here fucking around with this, playing with this. All right, so when it's got sound, okay, so when it's got so make sure these don't have sound. Okay. Okay. Oh, this is the other. Okay, if I want to add something. Okay, and then I need to get rid of some files. Okay. Okay. Oh shit. Oh shit. And I know a lot of y'all be like, "Oh, Ed, I don't like the vertical thing." We won't always do the vertical thing, but I'm trying to test something out. Okay, that is gonna be fire. If I can get that and work that into a vertical situation, I'm trying to see what the. Okay. So that's that. That's that. I know what I'm gonna need to do. I know exactly what I'm gonna do. These backgrounds. I'm like doing screenshots so I can kind of see what this looks like. See what y'all talking about. Robert Downey is another one, I believe. Yeah, Robert Downey's a good actor. He went through some shit, but yeah. I mean, it's a lot of actors. I mean, obviously, Samuel L. Jackson's another one. I mean, but when you see it, like you see what the script says versus what they did. In fact, now that I'm thinking about it, I need to write that down. That'd be a great idea for like a YouTube. That'd be a great idea for like a video a review channel. Like that's one of the highlights when you look at, okay, this is what the actor said, this is what they did. Like if you go into a movie, that's actually cool. That's actually something different. Yeah, it's a lot of black actors. I mean, when you really go and catalog this stuff and go through this stuff, it's actually a lot of opportunity for a lot of shit. Oh yeah, by the way, Netflix bought apparently Warner Brothers for like 872 or $82 billion. That's crazy. Banners, brand, the teleprompter shit. Recording progress or recording. See, the problem is when you got that square that's everywhere, essentially what it does is it like makes it, there's no point having a background. Like for real. Unless you're gonna, and it's hard to do a video that's gonna be a circle. That's like my ultimate goal is, can I do an overlay that moves this a GIF but cuts out that circle? If I can do that, then that should be fire. But sometimes I'll be doing too much. Other than that, there's no real point really having the only other reason to have these backgrounds is to yeah, Saudi Arabia bought EA Sports as well. But that Netflix deal is a big deal. I mean, both of them are big deals. But the Netflix deal is a big deal because basically they essentially bought all of Warner Brothers catalog with that. Just like Amazon bought, the catalog from Harvey Weinstein. So that's 82. That's crazy. 82, that's a crazy number. And that means that they definitely increased the value of Netflix, like instantly on top of the shit Netflix already does. Obviously, that number is that big. They didn't buy just their catalog. They had to bought like studios as well, which is going to make them. I mean, basically bought their access because it's not going to turn into like Netflix. Still going to be Netflix, but they basically bought their access, their human resources, all of that, in order to create. Now they probably can do legit movies. The name, the brand, the studios, all of that. I gotta look more deeper into the deal, but if it's that high, if it's like 82 billion, they didn't just buy their the catalog of fucking T content. They didn't just buy content. They bought infrastructure for that. So pretty much they bought their way in. I mean, basically Netflix is like the caretaker, like Warner Brothers is a subsidiary of Netflix, which I didn't think Netflix had that kind of money. I mean, I didn't think they were profitable enough to pull a move like that. So that's crazy. I can do background music. Yeah. Let me know if that's too loud. But the most important thing with this, and I knew StreamYard could work on the phone, but can it work on the phone to the level of Can it work on the phone to the level of it not jumping out freezing? So they seem to improve that. Let me know if the volume is good now. I mean, yeah, Amazon. Yeah, I mean the whole food thing is interesting because we got Whole Foods out here. I mean, we got a lot of Whole Foods type stores. In fact, and then you got to think about Amazon did Whole Foods and now Amazon does perishable items. I really don't know why they have Whole Foods at this point because they do perishable items in a lot of markets. Probably is one of them where you can buy stuff directly from Amazon. So I mean, I don't, but I haven't looked into it. You say it's just a little lower. What's called saying it's cool, and it's kind of as low as it's gonna be. Man, Whole Foods market was racist as fuck anyway. All right, I'll turn the music off. Just give me a second. He's saying it's inaudible. Yeah, Whole Foods is racist as fuck, man. And Whole Foods is supposed to be more of a liberal thing too. If you want to know how racist liberals can be, just go to Whole Foods. And nigga, understand, I'm a light skinned nigga. So, but I did go in there. Look, man, you can say what you want to about a hoodie. A hoodie is a very great piece of clothing. A hoodie is something if you just need to throw something on and not looking like you're doing too much. A hoodie is the thing to have. People can say what the fuck they want to say. And it's funny because them white boys, they be getting them like, a lot of clothing technology. Like it's something around called bear skin, which I'm definitely gonna get. I need to lose weight, but once I get my where I'm trying to be, like even clothes, oh yeah, I'm definitely getting that. That's another thing, man. That utilitarian, they done took a lot of technology out of some of these clothes, like Nike and shit, and still trying to charge you, man. I don't love, but I really like clothing technology, like shit with pockets in a strategic way. And if you make it look fashionable, I'm not just buying brands just because they're a brand. I want some utilitarian shit. I'm not on that hillbilly type shit, in the woods and shit. But I do like, I be having shit like in different stuff. I be having shit on me, like straight up. So I like clothes to reflect that. And then if you want to have a little brand, then fine. But I'm not. I rather the utilitarian of clothes versus like for instance, sweatpants. It got pockets. That shit is expensive. That shit is expensive. Sweatpants are actually low key expensive. Yeah, I mean Whole Foods isn't bad. I mean Whole Foods isn't like people definitely shop there. And the niche is big enough. Like we've got 17 grocery stores where I'm at. You got Sprouts, which is more of a farmer's market kind of thing. You've got Fresh Market and Whole Foods. All of that is the same thing. We're not even, and then we're not even talking about the grocery stores that cater to that niche. But as far as just that section, those are three stores straight up. I mean, we've got multiple stores for different niches. I mean, I should go into that. Yeah, man. I mean, yeah, them things be looking good, man. I ain't gonna lie. Them bears, because like the thing is, when stuff like that really shows up, like, look, if you're in, see, the thing is, and if you're in the cold, like right now, or if it's raining, that's where stuff like that becomes really useful. But that's the type of shit I like. And fuck that. You just gonna slap a brand on that shit. I want you to think about it. Think of like where Sean John used to be the shit. I used to love Sean John. I'm not even gonna lie. Like Diddy actually did his thing on the clothing front. On the clothing front, I used to, Echo used to be good. I'm like, what the fuck happened to that? Because the thing is, Echo should have been able to go more. Echo really would have worked well in this day and age. Coogee like went out. Coogee like we don't need white people. Like Europe, yo. The reality is, all they do is they market the exoticism of Europe. Like it's basically white ice is colder the brand. True. Yeah, so I'm gonna speak on that because I wasn't gonna speak on that, but I'm gonna speak. I'm gonna speak on Glendon. I'm gonna speak on Glendon. That's actually something I wasn't gonna speak on. Um, Here's my thing. Yeah, I saw that Glendon is back putting videos up, and I'm definitely glad. He's okay. He took a break. All of that. My thing is this. Based on the videos I've seen so far, and I've seen a couple. I haven't seen all of them. I know he's like 3 or 4. I've seen like one full one, the one with the pimp shit, the pimp, not pimp, but he's talking about lying YouTubers, how they pimp audiences so people don't try to misrepresent my words. And I'm probably gonna look at the Chat GPT one. Obviously, if you into that kind of thing, he's got course stuff. Here's the thing. I'm not gonna talk about Glendon all the time like I used to, recommending the channel for a couple of reasons. Number one, my channel here is about, this is not a business channel. Okay. This is not a business channel. This channel is about talking about Black culture, and it's about talking about creating clarity around Black culture and what needs to be done to improve Black culture so we can therefore deal with the other areas of activity. When you look at Dr. Clark Anderson's 5 floors, you've got the economics, which is resources, politics with division of resources. You have, I know you have media, communication. You have education at the top. You have communication below that. And I believe you have like law. I'm like blanking on it. But I'm either blanking on law or I'm missing. But I do know. And then below that, to me, is culture. Because I believe culture is what governs all of that. Culture is the operating system. If all of those things are important, essential applications, culture is your operating system. Your operating system is trash. Shout out to Windows Vista. Or you all have had trash ass operating system. You're effed up. The Black community is like Linux, where our stuff has had to be recreated. And unfortunately, it's not a good version of Linux because we are the children of the crack era. And you see that in the culture, and you see how a lot of alphas are moving away from that, which I'm very happy to see. I'm very happy to see that our child generation is starting to get more into anime, and the hood and urban side is getting more concentrated, but it's getting smaller. And that is something that millennials need to push that. We do not need to push hyper urbanism onto, our child generation. They need to grow up outside of that because they did not grow up in the crack era. We were born out of the crack era. We didn't necessarily grow up in it, but we were born out of it, and it shows in our culture and how fucked up our culture has gotten as far as where the problems are. And the problem is the parts that are fucked up are dominating other parts of the culture. And that is something millennials need to correct. I'm not blaming other groups for this necessarily, because at the end of the day, the white supremacy is really responsible for that. And it is what it is. But I'm want to create clarity as to what my channel is about. So you'll hear me talk about things that are going on when it'll be more educational. It'll be me just ranting. It'll be me talking about things that, whether it's sports culture, music culture, off the field, obviously relationships between Black women, Black men, sexual dynamics. I don't want to use power dynamics because Jason Black think I'm taking this shit, but leverage dynamics, power dynamics, right? Glendon does, I've to kind of low key said it so much, but Glendon is doing business. And although obviously I like business, this channel is really not, because what happens is it sends the wrong message where, he's going over there and the things that he's talking about is really related to more business stuff and just being like, really, really getting out there and putting yourself in the mud to really, get movement on stuff. Right. And, it's too many people, and this goes into his YouTubers thing. It's too many people that at the end of the day, Glendon could be lying, like straight up. All the stuff he said, everything he said, he could be lying. You know, especially when it comes to like sexual escapades and stuff like that, or whatever. And somebody that hasn't, I don't want to play that he hasn't been charged or something, but somebody hasn't even been brought up on suspicion of stuff like that. Especially when you got people in this space that they've caught, and I'm not even talking about just the manosphere. I'm talking about like manosphere adjacent. So I don't want nobody to think like I'm not talking about Tito. I just want to be clear about that because y'all niggas, I'm talking about more like Jason Black. Just so let me be clear. But you got people that they got stuff on them that hasn't been that's been put out there, and so I don't want to hear, when people sit here and they be on some of the shit they be on, it's like all of y'all be listening to motherfuckers that's fucked up to a certain extent. And we talk about people that's just talking versus somebody. This ain't okay, Diddy has been charged, it's known he was charged. It's not that. So my point is, you're not gonna really see me talk about him a lot, because at the end of the day, like my channel, like y'all know who he is, y'all know where he is, and y'all know that. And this has nothing. And I watch his stuff. I'm watching this stuff. I'm getting back into so this has nothing to do with like, oh man, I'm trying to tell y'all on the low not to know. It's that I don't want what I do here for people to go over there and have this like this kind of expectation that they're going to hear certain things, and then when they disagree, people just start acting stupid. Now, y'all wasn't the ones really doing that like that, but in this space, what he's doing is not really, it's business stuff. And is it useful stuff? If you deal with that, is it useful perspective to have? Absolutely. He's cool with Ron Wills. Ron Wills has his Ron Wills thing. I like Ron Wills, but I tend to like Glenn and Cameron when it comes to business more. But Ron Wills is good for like young people, like really trying to get information about stuff. And so, yeah, there you have it. I know people may read that as, oh man, he's trying to say he don't mess with him no more because of blah, blah, blah. No, that's not what that is. But but him being back, and especially, good, he's in health. I mean, good is in health. I mean, if you've seen the video, you've seen the video, but I'm not about to add no undue stress to nobody because, it's this back and forth shit when people are not even really in this space. That's not what they do. The people that Glendon deals with are people that are serious about starting a business, not necessarily an internet business, by the way, which I deal more with online stuff. He's talking about like real, like small business, and like, dealing with that and credit and the money that, with his course and stuff reflects that. And so, I'm like all this, especially like where the space is now, because he's been gone for like a year and a half. Where this stuff is right now, especially how hostile a lot of this stuff is, where people just want to be right and they're on some scorched earth. I'm just going to destroy everything. And if I got to lie, I'm going to lie. If I got to hype everything up and troll, I'm going to do that. Like, I'm not about to contribute to that. So at the end of the day, I mean, he's over there. Y'all know who he is. Let his channel grow with the people that are trying to deal with that message. I'm not about, now if I have a more business channel, I'll probably more, bring him up more. But even then, like really, you gotta Glendon is best served with somebody that has some motion. They like has a hustle, has either a job that's paying good money. Like, for example, my brother has a job. My brother is a warehouse supervisor and he's making $85,000 a year. Like somebody like my brother could definitely benefit from Glennon's information, especially when it comes to credit. Because my brother's credit is solid. I mean, my credit is okay, but it needs to be better. My credit, his credit is solid. His credit is good. He's got like, I think, like $10,000 in credit. He's right there on a lot of stuff and he's got the revenue and he's, that's his issue is more time. So, it is what it is. And then, like I said, it's not a bad thing at all. I'm glad he's back. But this thing where I mention him all the time and say, I don't even, y'all know I don't talk about Jason Black anymore because of the bullshit he did with Pearl trying to make it like our space was supporting was the reason why Pearl got big. And so we're low key white supremacists. And I don't give a fuck. That's po ass shit. That's a po ass shit. And I don't want to hear no what fucking Obsidian does. Obsidian doesn't speak for the whole space. You know, Obsidian doesn't speak for the whole space. Everybody does their own thing, just like Jason Black don't. Despite don't speak like I don't hold Professor Black Truth accountable for what comes out of Jason Black's mouth, even if they cool with each other. Then everybody's their own person. So it's this thing where with black people, and I'm gonna say this, you know, it's actually funny, and so that's what that is. But no, absolutely, I still support them. But you know, if y'all not serious about business, then it's really no point watching him like that, because all you're gonna do is just waste his time. You know, and with kind of the toxicity, I mean, I ain't trying to say our space is toxic, but you know what comes with what we deal with. And you got people, because of the red pill and this and that, they want to make people look crazy. Like straight up. To the point where they'll stress motherfuckers the fuck out. And so he, you know, the video, you know, one of the videos I saw, he was talking about, you know, lying ass YouTubers. He's not lying about that. He's like, in fact, I may go in there and put a comment in there to talk about the equation. Even though this is not accurate, 100% accurate, because, well, it is accurate. But like in the business space, in the finance space, you actually get more money per view because those ads are worth more. But I might put in there like, you know, 1,500 views equals $10. 15,000 equals 100. 150,000 equals 1,000. If you understand that, you then understand why people make videos. Like I'm gonna tell you, like one of the things with these young Z's, they're basically making reality show content is not really real. It's not real. They're literally creating this content. The way they're creating content is that it's not a real interaction. These are fake interactions. Or what it is they're ad-libbing a little bit. I'll give them that. But these are setup situations. Like a lot of your streamers and stuff like that, that's what that is. And you got people looking at that like it's real. Like for instance, there's a chick, her name is Extra Emily, right? She reminds me, what's the chick, you know, on Teen Titans? Y'all put it in the chat. I'm blanking. What's the chick on Teen Titans that, you know, she's on for fire, you know, she's an alien, she was with Robin. And she, you know, she's an alien, she was with Robin, you know what I'm talking about. The one on the Teen Titans Go, that cartoon, she acts like that, right? And she pulls it off well. But this is somebody that was like top 10% or top 10% at Columbia University. Very smart chick. But she plays a character. And some of them, to varying degrees, play characters. But you have to understand, a lot of these people now, especially, they are putting things up for one purpose and to get engagement. Even a lot of this stuff, like you see black women saying crazy ass shit, they're saying that shit for engagement. They literally call it rage baiting, which is why you shouldn't, if anything, if you want to talk, you screenshot it. But even then, it's kind of like you find out with X that a lot of these Indians are putting a lot of this content out here, you know, too, when it's text and they ain't got to put a video on it. It's all for engagement. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'll say if you got to give me if you got to put a gun to my head and say make a decision, I would say no. I would say based on her history, I think that's who she is. That's who she is. He's pretty close to what that is. I saw her without makeup, man. Yeah, she got a real plan. I mean, she all right. But the point is, it's designed to gather views and stuff. That's what that is. Even with DDG always being connected to a female, that's what that is. That's what that is. And when you understand, and it's not even just about that, but people be like, well, duh, not really, man, because people need to understand what's real and what's not. They need to know. No, people talk about AI, but you'll look at a real person basically on some straight bullshit. So he's absolutely right about the line. And it's the same thing in the financial industry. Like, you have people like me, like, I'll put out ideas that can work, but I'm not going to just put out some bullshit that I know is not going to work, but it's going to give you that I know is not. I'm not doing that. But and there are people that will do that. And a lot of these audiences, let's just keep it all the way real. A lot of these audiences are white. And I've talked about this even when that stuff was happening. A big issue that Glennon was running into is that Glennon is not white. And, Glendon, definitely knows racism exists, but he's not somebody that's just, he's not going to throw the race. It takes a lot for him to throw out the race card. It's going to take, and even if it is, he's not going to throw out the race card. He's going to throw out the Glendon card, which is, I'm going to sue you, I'm going to get back. He's not afraid of white people like that at all. And that's something that's admirable. But when it comes to that algorithm, unfortunately, the algorithm was built by white people for white people. And black people get the sense? Yeah, but usually they're catering to white people in some kind of way. And that's and in the finance industry, there are people that are big in finance. Obviously, Ernest Leader is up there, but they're up there on Instagram, not necessarily YouTube. Myra Golden is obviously big, but Myra Golden has other factors because he had already a huge audience. And he knows kind of he has a huge audience. And there's a lot of other factors going on why he grew as big as he did. And he has a huge audience and so and if you look at any black content creator, even in this space, most of them don't have a straight black audience. They don't. Angry Man might be one of the exceptions, but Angry Man got big with the shorts. Angry Man without the shorts probably has like 75, 80,000 people. And the shorts are a little bit different. So the issue, and this is not always the case, but it's fucked up. It's fucked up, but it is what it is. And so white people get on here and throw some bullshit out there. I mean, look, I think he was gone at the time all that LX Bitcoin thing like bottomed out. Where all them guys who used to talk about, they basically got completely fucked up because they were sponsoring that shit. And they were running it like a scam. Because I remember, because he would have been talking all kinds of shit about that. Because some of them were some of the main people. They would be the main people, but they'd be a lot of people that were mentioned, right? And so, yeah, man, it is what it is, and that's what I used to say even back then. I'm like, and I'm not trying. Obviously, man, he's way more successful than me. That's not, I'm not trying to tell nobody what to do in that way, But what I will say is, you can't, you have to operate outside of the normal shit. And this is stuff I've looked at, and obviously talking about it is one thing, showing it is another. But even with BGS should be way bigger than what BGS is. But the way BGS is going to have to grow is BGS is going to have email. He does have email. He does have a list. I'm not on it, but people email him. But BGS is going to have like a newsletter. Like the way it's going to, and obviously BGS is a certain age, so, he'll do it as long as he wants to do it. But the way it's going to have to work is he's going to have a newsletter. And obviously a newsletter isn't an algorithm. So let me give you an example. I want to really, this is like a rough and dirty kind of way of doing this. And this is kind of an expensive way to do this. It doesn't have to be done this way. But if you had a certain amount of money, this is how you get, this is one way. I'm not saying it's the way, but I just want to, even though this has nothing to do with what I titled this shit on, but this is a little bit on a more positive end. So that's good. Because y'all always see me going in. I can always change the title. And I can always talk shit about that other shit later. If you wanted to build, so I always talk about building a list. The problem is everybody wants to build a list. The fast way to build it, the expensive way, but the fast way to build a list is going to be the pay for. And when I say pay for the list, I'm not talking necessarily like solo ads or anything like that. Solo ad is when you buy ad space in somebody else's email list. So they send an email to their list, and then usually you have an offer or whatever, and then these come to you. That's not really applicable to what we're trying to do. But the way you would do this, and this actually could stand a little bit with the Discord as well, but the way this would be done. Before I jump into this, let me see what y'all are saying. He throws out the class card. Yeah, he does throw out the class card, which is what more black people should do. But you got to be ready to come with class weapons if you're going to do that. And he does have the. So if you're going to throw out a class card, you better be ready to. You better be ready to go out and try to fuck and be able to do it because they're going to test that. So you can't just, I'm just of a certain class that Skip Gates learned that it doesn't work that. Henry Louis Gates learned it doesn't work that way. You got to be ready to come with that. And the problem is individually, see, and obviously we're talking more famous people, but this is not just if you're famous. Individually, you're going up against the system. It's just like if you're a man and you're dealing with a woman when it comes to child support, you're not just going up against that woman, you're going up against a system. And you have to account for that. I think Neil is a character. She nasty too. Emily, what do you mean she's nasty? I don't know. She played, Starfire. I don't know why I was blanking on that name. Yeah, everybody's saying Starfire. Yeah. Yes, finance gets it. Yeah, it does get a higher rate. I can't tell you what that is, but it does get higher. So those are other factors. But in our space and in kind of the gossip, the social commentary gossip space, like that encompasses a lot of different shit. Yeah, what I said with the 15, times 10, 15, or 150. Really, it starts at 1,500. 150 is basically $1.50. So 150, 1,500, 15,000, you get dating the game shit to his audience. Well, I mean, the thing is, his audience is business. He's not talking about that. Honestly, through Black Truth, Jason Black were the same. I mean, I don't know why y'all keep saying that. Jason Black and Professor Black Truth do not sound the same. Like they don't sound the same. They don't have the can't say hate it. Like I'll give you an example. I'll give you a perfect example. People think I'm just saying that. Like Jason Black will raise his voice. Like Jason Black from time to time will raise the pitch of his voice, not like in a female way, but like when he's trying to highlight a point. Professor Black Truth never does that. He's not monotone, but he stays within the same. And I'm not like listening like that. It just like he says like Professor Truth never does that. Never does that. And even like, for instance, Professor Truth rarely talked about gender dynamics. He hates talking about. He'll give you one video a year, and he's about to do a video on gender. And gender, just to let you know, yeah, he understands the goofy shit Black women do. He does understand that, but his mentality is there's bigger things to worry about. I disagree with that. I think obviously there's other things people can talk about, but I think that it's always going to come back to this. But that's just me. So how they chose the topic is very different, man. I don't understand why people say that. I don't understand that because if you're really like listening, even to what they say, how they say stuff, what they say, their quirks, it's not the same. But that's just me. Yeah, I don't believe that. I believe that that's some shit that they were saying. Because that was some shit that was going viral at the time with white people saying that. I don't believe that. She's Asian. I don't believe Asians don't have Asians. No, I don't believe that. She's Chinese too. I don't believe. And seem like an upper class. That's just they'll just say some shit like that. Like that's what I'm talking. I'm not talking about when shit ain't real. You talking to a person that literally acts like Starfire from Teen Titans Go. That's literally her character. That is nothing like how she really is. She's broke character a couple of times. Which look, I'm not even hating on that. That's actually impressive that you can do that. But I just use that to highlight a lot of these folks. Like now, dudes are not doing that as much because dudes just can't get away with that. But yeah. And so anyway, going back, that's based on what she told on a video in like that environment. That's what I'm saying. Because I guess because it's negative, you run it with it. Does she look like she ain't clean? Like for real, for real. But that's what I'm saying, man. And that's why a lot of them get big because, again, y'all people be running with that shit like it's real. So it's either all real or none of it's real. That's how I look at it. Everything is under question. But anyway, going back to what I was saying, like if you're buying leads, if you're buying like there's when you get on YouTube, you're trying to do organic shit. That's why TikTok is very popular because for a time you can get more motion. That's why people can blow up on TikTok and not necessarily blow up on YouTube because it's a different algorithm. But the easy way is if you look at lead, like if you were to say, okay, I'm gonna buy like I want to build. Let's say I wouldn't do this for Discord, but like, let's say I wanted to build up an email list. Let's say I want to build up an email list that's a newsletter that's actually new. Like, so you have something like what BTS does, which is geopolitics, cultural stuff, and you have an idea of who you're marketing to, and you would pay for advertising on social media in order to drive that to you and get like an email. And then from the email, you would use that to funnel your YouTube channel ads. Now, there's a couple of different ways you can do that. Just to give you an example. Number one, the most expensive and way you should never do it this way is it would be different. If you make a lot of money off of YouTube ads, it might be different. But even still, that wouldn't make sense to do this. But this is like a basic way you could do it if you're just throwing money at something. Is you would basically go YouTube or social media. So you would create like but you know how when people promote a radio channel or a podcast, they have all this brand material around it, but it's postcards, whatever, like PDF flyers, shit like that. BGS is already doing one thing, which is he's going live consistently, usually between 5 o'clock in the evening Eastern and 6. So that's like 2 o'clock his time. And he's going consistent every day. He's going consistently every day, but on like arts every day. So pretty much you can get him 5 days a week, like a TV show. So you're promoted as such, saying, BGS News Hour, BGS Hour, whatever. Right. Whatever. And you would take that material and you would create a banner or whatever with that. You could do it on YouTube pay-per-view, which is probably one of the cheaper ways of doing it because you're actually getting views to your channel. But if you're going to do that, what you would probably do is you would want to do that to a short. You would want to do that to make sure you're maximizing all the seconds. So not no hour video, you would do that to like a 1-minute trailer, giving people an idea of this is the different type of stuff you're going to hear on this channel, and then have a subscribe button. That doesn't guarantee people are going to subscribe. That doesn't guarantee, and see the problem with that is BTS is low-key shadow ban. So you don't want to do it that way. You don't want to do it that way with him. So you would do it via email because then if they're on the email list, it's not shadow ban on email. And on email, like your autoresponder, like Get Response, Aweber, it's a lot of email shit out there. You could then email your video to a specific list. So if you say, okay, I want to listen to 10,000, how much is that going to cost? Well, if you're paying for clicks with advertising, I mean, clicks get depending on what shit you're dealing with. Clicks can be $1. Clicks can be a lot. Clicks can be $1. Clicks can be 10 cents, whatever. And you're paying for impressions, really. And then so impressions is whenever you see a banner, like somebody would say they see bear skin, that's an impression. And then when somebody clicks, that's when you're paying for it. Now, if you do 1,000 impressions, let's say you do 100 impressions, and somebody clicks on it 2 times, well, out of 100 impressions, it's being clicked on twice. That means that's a 2% click-through rate, which is not good. It's not bad, but you could do better. So if you so typically impressions are done in the thousands. So if you do 1,000 impressions and you have a 2% click through rate, that means you're going to get 20 clicks per 1,000 impressions. And every platform is different as far as how much costs are. The more clicks you get, the higher that percentage is. So if you get like out of 10, out of like 100 clicks, you get like 15 clicks. That's 50%. That's very high. That means your ad costs will be cheaper because your ad costs, because you're actually putting something on there that not only they've approved, but people actually like. So you're considered ad platform. And obviously you have to know who your audience is, and whatever advertising you put has to match what your audience is, right? If let's say you had a 2.2% click through rate, but out of like 100, 2 people click, that's reasonable. Nobody's gonna really question that. So that means if you were to pay, so let's say each click was, let's just say, just for sake of it, you paid follows are going to be cheaper. If you're talking about a click, let's just say you pay 15 cents a click. Let's just say that. So if you pay 15 cents a click, that doesn't necessarily mean somebody is going to put their email in. So you click on it, and then you go to a squeeze page, or it could be a squeeze page, whatever, landing page, whatever. It's called different things depending on like bullshit, but whatever. And then it's gonna have an email. It may have BGS with kind of the dark thing, a picture of that, saying news, be more newsy if people are looking for that or looking for a podcast. It would BGS and stuff be promoted like a podcast, right? A podcast, dark news podcast, blah blah, black culture, blah 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 blah. And people put their email in for that. Okay, now he's got the email. That's completely separated from any social media. This is on his list. But here's the problem. You could click, okay, let's say 10 people click on his email. Let's say 100 people click on his email. So if it's 15 cents a click, 15 cents times 10 is $1.50. 100 clicks would be $15. Yeah, $15. So if you pay $15 for 100 clicks, you may get maybe, if you're lucky, 8 or 9 people to get on that email list. All right. Press 1 if y'all can still hear me. Press 1 if y'all can still hear me. Okay. Appreciate it. So if you pay $15 and you only got like eight leads, that's $1.87 per lead that you're paying for. That's $1.87 per lead. And obviously these are average. This is averaging out. Now obviously that click through rate is higher. So when the impressions are going out, more people, and what these algorithms do is they're testing things, and they get better as they realize who's actually clicking on your stuff. This is where that tracking data comes in, because they see what profiles are, and so they get better the more you run these are called campaigns. And so you may have to mess with the campaign to get it better, so you can get it to where it's lower. Because obviously $1.87 is not great for what the objective is. The objective is to build an email list, but to do it as cheaply as possible. Him being in the email list is not, he doesn't have an intent to sell a product. So if you're selling a product, $1.87 would just depend on what product you sell. If you're selling something that's high ticket, like let's say Glennon's courses would be considered on the higher, like a high ticket, you know, then yeah, he can afford to do that. But he chooses not to do that. His style is doing YouTube, putting this stuff out there, and going with the algorithm that he built the channel for, right? But but my point is with BGS is with the email list. If you're going to do $1.87, well, obviously, so $1.87 per email is, I mean, that easily $10, 10 emails is $18.75. Another 100 is 187. 1,000 is 18.75. Yeah, that's not gonna work. That's not gonna work. You need to completely, especially people you don't know, is gonna click on your emails. They still don't know you like that. They may got, and this is, that's not gonna work. That's not gonna work. Now you can kind of, obviously BTS has a big enough channel. I don't know how big his email list is. I'm giving you just an example. Because BTS legit could have a strong email list, right? BTS obviously would get get emails based on, different, obviously YouTube, because he's on YouTube and finding stuff and different people find his stuff. So obviously his lead pool will be different with that. And this is where anyway, I'm getting off track. My point is, with the objective of building his following, you will want to lower that number. Meaning you will want to say, okay, because obviously 118, that's 18,750 for 10,000 people. That's not going to work, especially when he's not going to make that money back. So, the objective is to get it down to where it would be almost zero. And typically, the way you would do that is you would sell a product or a service. You would sell a product, whether that could be consultations or whatever. And so that would cut that down. So if you did an hour, like 30-minute consultations, I mean, that because Anton does that. That's actually one way of cutting that down. If you say, look, man, give me like $50 for 30 minutes and you set it up for, BTS can talk about game. He can talk about a lot of different topics. I would probably consult with him on how to actually do like creative think tank or something. Yeah, there's a lot of different stuff you can do. I'm not saying this is what you should do at all. I'm just giving you all an idea. But that's one way you can do it if you have experience in a certain field or something, certain thing like that, or something. Like I could do consultations on AI, and the way I would do it is I would email somebody wants to do a consultation, which I don't. But if somebody wanted to do a consultation with me, I would email them a package which would have, basically like questions, the list depending on what we're talking about, and this would be generic because it had to span a lot of topics. So, what questions do you have? Because I want to know what these questions are because I want to maximize that time. I'm not saying we can't talk or for a minute, but I don't want it to be okay. You're paying me just to talk. I want to have an idea of what you're asking for so I can have the answers and be able to provide something. And then usually I would probably give you also like a customized, like, do this package, and this is objective. That way you're actually getting something. You're not, or a lot of people do consultations in order to upsell them into something. But usually if people are doing that, they'll do free consultations. Because they're trying to get you on the phone in order to talk to you into doing something else depending on what the topic is. I've done that. Because that way you're probably gonna, so that's one way of monetizing if you don't have a monetize. The other thing, and some people do just want to talk. Some people just want to talk to you. Some people just want to be heard. Some people just want advice. That is what. So if it's marketed that way, if it's communicated that that's what it is, then it is what it is. Some people will pay to have an hour of your time. Some people will do that if you're an influencer. I've had people offer that. Give me $100 for an hour, and I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. 10 hours, that's $1,000. $50, that's fine. That's not a bad day's work. right? So people will do that if you're big enough. So that is a thing. That definitely is a thing. I mean, people are saying Anton is a fraud. Say what you want to say about Anton. In real time, Anton builds different things. And Anton ain't got his books to lean on. Anton doesn't have a lot of the certain things a lot of black men would have to lean. A lot of people consider Anton a lame, yet he built a million person channel. So it's like, yeah, I think he has shit, to probably tell you, right? That's one way of doing it. The other way of doing it, which BGS has, is a Patreon. And so he has his dollar Patreon, but you can also create another tier in the Patreon. It's like $5, $10, and then you just promote the Patreon. He doesn't promote the Patreon that way because it's more, less is more kind of thing. But that's how you would do it. And another way you would do it is you would, for people that really support him, you could do like a $50 thing or $100 thing. It's like exclusive to, support. Some people will say they'll put names and videos. There's different things people will do. And Patreon is like immediate revenue as well, by the way. You don't have to wait for the money. That's what, shout out to Patreon for that, right? So that's enough. So when you build the email, but see, so it's immediate revenue. So if somebody joins Patreon, and then what you would probably do, have a good amount of stuff on the Patreon so you can promote the Patreon up front. Because at that point, with the squeeze page, you would take them to a thank you page, and you would probably have them go to the Patreon and see this is what the benefits are. Maybe have a couple of courses and stuff, like a couple of trainings and stuff, whatever they value. And then that gets them initially, you get this initially in a Patreon. Like normally I charge this for this, but if you come on the $25 tier, you get access to this for free. But only if you click through here and blah, blah, blah. And I know if you did. And that way, so now if you get X amount of people, so if you do an ad spin and you get X amount of people to do that, now you're cutting into that $1.87 because you have sales coming in. And this could be an ebook, this could be whatever. And that's typically why people still have ebooks, or they still have cheap little trainings that are $10, $5. That's why they have that, or $25. They have that in order to cut down those ad costs initially. So it becomes, okay, let's say it's that $1.87. Let's $1.87 per lead. I did 100, so 100 leads. I spent $187. But out of that $187, I added three. Let's say two people to because I want to be reasonable and let you know the reality of it. 2 people to a Patreon, and press 2 if you're liking this information. Press 2 if you're liking this information. So I know I'm not just talking in the wind. 2 people, that's $50. So 187 minus 50 is 137. So that means it's like 137 per lead versus 80. If you get 3 people, then it's 75 minus 87, which is what, like 117 minus 5 is like 112. So you see how that works? Now, if you get and that's reasonable. And here's the thing, that's the initial, like, people clicking through stuff. You can always email them and talk to them and get, obviously they're promoting that, so that's out. So maybe people won't go to the 25, but people will go to because Marty has a 25 program, which is his main program. This is one reason I've always told him to have a lesser tier, but he wants less and more, which I respect that. See what I'm saying? See, Marty actually could do this. Marty actually has the money and stuff that he could actually do this. And he has enough things on his Patreon that he could probably get away with. See what I'm saying? Okay. And so my point, yeah, exactly. Okay. So my point with all of this is that that's how you would do it. So if you say, okay, I want 10,000 emails, it's like 18,750. That's way too high. You would need a strategy to cut that down. So then you would ask, what is the acceptable number to pay for, and what are you actually getting? Because even when if you can get 10,000, understand, when you get 10,000 people, there's a difference between 10,000 people coming in through ads and 10,000 people that find you on YouTube. Those are 2 different things. The people that find you on YouTube are going to be more targeted. Generally, they're either looking for your information. This is what content marketing is so important, because they're going to have a more organic like look to you if they stick around versus ads. I mean, they absolutely can, but again, um, you're trying to convert them into viewers. So you're not necessarily charging them for things, but you're trying to connect them into viewers. So the strategy to doing that would be really to connect them either to a Patreon or to a YouTube membership. Because I've told you all that $1.50 is worth 1,500. It's worth like 150 views. 1,500 views, and obviously if you're in a finance thing, it's a little bit different. But 1,500 views is worth about $10. So if you get two people to come to your membership, that's worth 1,500 views. You see what I'm saying? So that's how that will work. That's how you would build that out. That's how you would build that. And obviously you're getting organic marketing, marketing through you putting out content and stuff. But if you really just wanted to say, hey, I got this money, I want to make this investment, and you look at it more like an investment, I would never tell somebody to do that the first time. I would always say less is more. Typically, when you do campaigns, if you got money like that, you can do $50 campaigns. Typically, you do $10, $15, $20 campaign, because you want to see what works and what doesn't work. Because this is a very easy way of throwing good money after bad. You want to get it. It's an art and a science. So I would never. This is why I typically don't tell. This is why you don't really hear people tell people to pay for advertising like that. This is the easy way to lose your money and piss people off, because they didn't know what they were doing or understand the risks. You gotta look at this like high stake gambling. This is like high stake. It can be done though. And when you look at how a lot of people build a lot of stuff, this is how. This isn't how the streamers do it, by the way. But like a lot of people that do direct sales, this is how they do it, because they have the money to crash into stuff, and they can figure it out based on what the data tells them and their experience. They know how to adjust here, adjust there, based on them knowing the audience. But like real talk, if you're trying to build something and you're trying to get that initial, because that's what keeps people stuck, that initial shit. And the reality is, even when you're doing local marketing for people and stuff like that, like you getting foot traffic and getting ass in the doors and stuff like that. If you really know how to do this, I mean, you can really change life. To some people, they just don't know. They have great restaurants or great this and great that. They just don't know how to put asses in the doors, or put asses in seats. And then when you look at ordering, like it ain't even about putting asses in seats. Just put orders, food trucks, all of that. So going back to what I was saying, because I originally said this with Glennon, he does have products that he sells and stuff like that, information training. With the main objective would be to create a YouTube channel. Here's another thing you wouldn't do. What you would do is you wouldn't promote directly to your YouTube channel. Because if you do pay-per-view on your YouTube channel, then it kills your organic reach. So if you're going to do this, one thing I would probably look at doing is you would do a YouTube channel based on shorts. And then, because shorts can go viral. And even though it takes a lot more to get views from that, but if your real objective is to get people to your main YouTube channel, so, and I would create a brand new YouTube channel if Glennon's done that. But and again, I'm not. Let me tell you something. Glennon is much more successful than me. So this is just me doing a thought experiment. This is not me saying what somebody should do. This is not me saying at all. Clearly, what he does works. He got more money than me. So let me be very clear with that. That goes the same for me. Yes, this is just a thought experiment to give you an idea how this works. And this is not to say these things have not been tried, but this is to say how this works. Because I think Glennon deals with the shadow ban issue as well, because with the hustlers come through, I think there's a lot of stuff going on there. But like, if you actually want to create something and get motion to it, and see if you're going to do that, you have to have kind of like a strategy. It doesn't have to be a business strategy, but you need a strategy to get that money revenue neutral or as revenue neutral as possible. And ads is not going to be what does it. Like you sitting, when I say ads, you sitting there doing YouTube views, that's not going to be what does it. Meaning your channel has to be more based around pushing people into a Patreon or a members thing. And you may get ad revenue, but the ad revenue, what you want to do is create a critical mass of an audience. If you can get 5,000 people watching almost every video, like when I do videos, and shout out to you all are the GOAT. I can almost know I can get 1,000 people on a video, 1,000 people. Generally 1,500. If it does under that, then that's a video y'all didn't want to see. If it does over that, like 2,000, I can tell when the algorithm is helping versus when it's just my audience. Because I have audience people that actually look for my stuff, they search for my stuff. I know they do because I've seen, because Edward Anderson is one of the main search topics that I get seen for. And like the videos are found. So if I were to increase that, now if I work within what that is, and I actually put like solid, I think Accountable Commentary has one of the best Patreons in the space, based on what I've seen. It really is just another news. It's not like he does some video, but it's not like, he's really just posting stuff that he probably get banned for posting on YouTube. And it's not even bad stuff, is it? You know how you really pushed it. I really got all this shit together. I probably put a good amount of people into the Patreon just within what I have. Problem is, and shout out to you all that, y'all, look, I'm not putting up in the Patreon. So people are typically on my Patreon, this is their way of supporting me. I need to get better about putting content in Patreon. So that's on me. But I would have to literally show all the content I have in there at this point, which is fine. I would have to put like a lot of content in there and show, yes, there is content. Yes, there is content being put in there at this point to get some of them back. I probably do some for them kind of sticking it out. But my point is, I'm pretty sure I could get a good amount just off of that. But if I were to add that, you do a YouTube channel where you're putting anyway, lose a track. My point is, it could definitely, and you wouldn't do it like 18,000. It would take time to get up there. But if you got it to where you got 3,000 people watching a video, that makes each video pretty much worth $20 just by itself. $20, the video is basically $20 just by itself. We're not even talking about super chats. We're not talking about super stickers. Shout out, you all are the real one. They basically sponsor the video when you do it, even $1. We're not even talking about all that. And if people were to then go into the Patreon and hit it with a super sticker to Patreon or something like that, again, this is actually how some of these channels are growing in a certain way. And then you can kind of control it. Because again, if you're promoting an email list rather than your YouTube channel, then, if you're on different parts of social media and you may have more motion on Instagram than you do on YouTube, now you're getting those emails, you're constantly promoting your YouTube channel, maybe a short, maybe put a little email or story behind it. Now, another way that people do this today, the young people, email really doesn't vibe with them like that, is Discord. So you might not promote an email list. What you would do is you would promote a Discord. And a Discord is great because even though you control the Discord and you can control like what channels actually comment on and not comment on, the good thing about a Discord is people are interacting, so you're creating a community. And when you create the community within Discord, now, I have about 300 people in my Discord. Now, these people, and usually about 20 people are active at any given time, unless it's like late. See what I'm saying? So this is actually how a lot of people do it. They don't hope for the algorithm to fuck with them. They basically take it into their own hands. They say, look, I need to do this amount of advertising, this here, this there. Like, for example, somebody would ask me, well, how would I do that? I'm like, you could be, look, man, you can do Uber driving part-time. If you work a job and you try to spend money on your job, you can do Uber driving part-time. Now, if you're going to spend money on ads, I wouldn't say to do it to build a YouTube channel. There will be other things I would say to do because you want to get that revenue back, and that's the top priority. But a lot of people built you can build a YouTube channel that way. but you have to have like a Patreon strategy or membership strategy behind that. Otherwise, you can't just justify it for views. But again, you get like 3,000 people watching each video. That's 20. And then the algorithm, what you're doing is you're bringing people onto YouTube. And that's one of the biggest things that actually triggers the algorithm is bringing people onto YouTube. Even that's why I like that disruptive male brand that Glennon used to talk about, because number one, it doesn't sound like Red Pill. It's not Red Pill. Glennon is not Red Pill, by the way. Glennon is more of a black masculine kind of thing, and really more of a just man masculine, not even necessarily black. Because he don't really highlight race like that. And so when you and disruptive male, it's actually a really good brand. That's why I liked it. So it was a really good brand, and it really encompasses kind of what people want to be, and it just doesn't deal with people. It doesn't resonate with people like in our space. It will resonate with people that would not necessarily agree with our space. And a lot of his videos, like Real Talk, they would be perfect videos like this on email list and stuff. And it also makes it so videos have more staying power and more value, because certain videos that are really good, you can always hit that to the. You see what I'm saying? Y'all picking up what I'm putting down? Because I know I've been talking. He said S-Way PM. Y'all picking up what I'm putting down? Shout out to Gregory for the super sticker. Much appreciated, man. So yeah, so my point is, people always want to talk about there's no fucking solution. No, there's solution. There are solutions. There are solutions. There are solutions. There are ideas. There are things that can be worked with. Now, obviously, that $1.87 is kind of high, but there's ways to get that completely down with some elbow grease and a lot of stuff. But that's usually where stuff, if it starts out, and if you don't know nothing about ads, then it's gonna be some crazy number. Then if you learn more about ads and messing with it and how it works, you will learn how to, get better at this and kind of get it where it's like, it's like when you cook for the first time versus you've been cooking for a while. Like what's here and what's there. So this stuff is very possible, but the objective would be, okay, and here's another thing about the Patreon. That's a month-to-month thing. So because that's a month-to-month thing, you're building a recurring thing. So now your channel is really based on, you got your real channel, and then you got YouTube is more of a marketing thing. And YouTube is still a good channel, but the channel is not necessarily based on views. So like, and Only Logical could do this, but it would never be $1.80. No, it would be different strategies to get that number down. But this is how you go. This is how you protect yourself. And people be like, well, why would I do it this way? Because if YouTube fucks your channel up, then you're done. All that time and effort is done. This is the way of taking the content you've created and then creating a kind of like a spine behind the thing. So you got the iceberg, which is what you see above the waterline. And then you got what's below the iceberg, which is the real iceberg, which is much bigger, right? And that's what you do. So when, Tommy Sotomayor, Tommy Sotomayor should have a list of like 200,000 people, like real talk. And if Tommy Sotomayor would have had a list like that, because remember when Crimson Cure was coming in here and talking about that, she was trying to aggregate the whole space. And I assume her intention was genuine. I just don't trust that nigga. If you have, and so I say, I want to bring this back to something. Like Tommy Sotomayor would have had like a list of like, let's say 30,000 people. It wouldn't matter what YouTube would do because he would have a Patreon. I think he does have a Patreon, but all Tommy would really have to do is just be cool with people that have channels, because he's not so toxic that people are banning people that actually has him on, and then just visibility. And he could low key pay people that have a certain amount of like visibility, like a Pearl or whatever, or whoever that's got the motion. Like if somebody can put 1,000 people on a stream, you be like, look, man, I'll break you off some. That's all he would really have to do. And then he just build his Patreon, have his own independent podcast that way. But what he tried to do is create a website. The thing is, he has an issue with getting people to follow him on YouTube. That's his problem. But if he would have solved that problem, Tommy would be low key like Alex Jones. There would be nothing nobody could really do. Because revenue wise, he would have all the revenue in the world. This is low key probably what Fresh and Fit does. The social, he would have an email list and be like, look, you want to see where I'm at? My newsfeed, just get on the email list. And I'll let you know when I'm going live, where I'm going live. Fuck you too. That's actually how you do it. When you do that and you have an audience, they damn near can't touch you. I'm very sure this is what Nick Fuentes does. But the difference with Nick Fuentes, he has a Discord. Nick Fuentes has a Discord. It probably has north of like 50,000 people in it. So it's not just an email list with a one-way piece of communication. It's a whole community that they're messing with each other even when he's not there. So he just dropped something in there. This is one way Andrew Tate got as big as he did, as fast as he did. As fast as he did. And a lot of these streamers, low key, they use Discord. So they push people into their Discord, because the difference between Discord is more like an SMS base. And what that means is it's not like a social media network. So they're not paying you. Everything that's posted on there, you see. So they're not paying you. It doesn't have an algorithm, but at the same time, they're not suppressing your people. So if you get a subscriber in a Discord server, as long as they're in that server and they have their notifications on, especially from you, then they're getting everything. So if I had let's say I had like 2,000-3,000 people in my Discord server, and then I have it so where all the notifications that come from Edward Anderson requests, they go to their phone and they turn that on. They got to turn it on. Guess what? You're getting notifications in your phone. It doesn't matter what YouTube and them do. So I put it on YouTube, and then I put the link in the Discord server. Then now I've got a lot more live people. So now I know I can get a lot more of y'all, because ain't nobody missing my shit. Or they know where to go and get all of the videos easily. And Discord, when you get in your phone, Discord is just one click away. It's actually easier to go through it than YouTube. And I'm still on YouTube. It's just the link is Discord. So you're getting this. That's why Discord is so popular, because it gets around the bullshit. It gets around the bullshit of suppressing your leads and suppressing your people. That's why I say fuck Rumble. Discord is more valuable. You're gonna have Rumble, but Discord is actually more valuable than that, because if YouTube acts up, you just put the video on Rumble and then get all of you. Anybody that does well on Rumble, that's what they're doing. They either do that or they have an email list. Now, some people use social media as their email list. Like they may use Twitter. The problem with Twitter is, again, it's based on algorithms. They may use TikTok. They usually will use the social media platform they have the most motion in, if they're already big. But if you're not big and you're small, like Dumper could do this. Dumper legit could do this. Like his stuff is good enough. He could legit do this shit and build it up. And he wouldn't even need to pay for leads. All he would need to do is just add it to the email. And System.io, which is also an email product, you have 2,000 people before you ever pay for anything. But I would say just have a basic Discord. Just have a basic Discord and yeah. So I wanted to say so at the end of the day, but when you go to fuck the algorithm. And the thing is, people will say, well, this sounds like a lot, let's get around the algorithm. It can be, but here's the problem, here's the funny thing about it. When you do that, because you're bringing YouTube on, because you're bringing people onto the YouTube platform, the algorithm will probably boost you. As long as your channel doesn't have any shadow ban bullshit, the algorithm will boost you because you're bringing people onto the platform, and that's one of their key triggers. So if you're bringing people onto the platform, then the algorithm serves as like a turbocharger. And so ironic, and then you can direct them to not just one channel. Ironically, the algorithm will probably reward you for that reason, because you're bringing people onto YouTube. And then it's just a matter of how long do they stay on the YouTube once you're done. Shout out to Compassion College for saying, yeah. So when people talk about we ain't got no fucking solutions, oh, we got solutions. We got solutions. But motherfuckers need to acknowledge the fucking problem. We're not even talking about, like, if you had a group of people that they had an objective, like, for instance, shout out to Compassion Callous, like, we want to build this Discord, and then you put a pool of money in, you know, to do that, like a little bit here, a little bit there. We're not even talking about if you have people that that's what their objective and they may do that with one channel because they're building a channel as like a team or something. Like, you know, our RDC World or something. We're not even talking about that. We're not even talking about people that are doing stuff more in the entertainment space too. So they can promote it to a larger audience because this shit ain't controversial. We're not even, because then it becomes very much easier if that's what you're doing. We're not even talking about that. And then if you're dealing with people that say, okay, this is the objective that we have, and then we're going to do this, and then that money is really going to be the revenue neutral all this out. And then you have a couple channels that grow out of that. They kind of work in tandem. But see, that requires people to work together, and this is what happens when niggas don't want to work together. Sure. You know? Dr. Thunder has used something like this. I would have to get the channel to a certain level to do, but this is definitely something I probably would do. But the objective would be to push people into a Patreon. Because I don't believe fuck YouTube giving YouTube 30-70% of my stuff. Especially when they don't promote my shit or 30% of my stuff. No, the objective would be to push you to a Patreon. I'll be back. Hold on. Anyway, he said this is good. I'm trying to use Discord to sift through a huge supply of videos sent by supporters. Yeah, some people do that too. Like a lot of streamers that do reactions. Low Tier Guy does that. He has a Discord and people submit that shit to the Discord rather than email. Absolutely. And many people don't like they are a solution. Yeah, coach. Yeah. But my point is, like, from a socialpreneurship kind of standpoint, this is what I'm kind of low key talking about when I talk about, certain things and aggregation and stuff. But yeah, man, it is definitely possible. Like, if you were to say, look, I'm just gonna throw, I got this amount of money, I'm about to do this, but you gotta do it in a smart way, not just throw the money at it. Because just because you have subscribers doesn't mean you have an audience. You have to turn those people into an audience. So you have to do it like less is more. But again, you do it, and again, you don't do it on your primary YouTube channel because it won't get organic reach that way. It'll stop. You got to do it like the best way is to have a second YouTube channel, just like a shorts channel, and it's not really designed to get motion. It's really designed specifically for this, and then you just promote the primary channel this way. This is what people do with Instagram too. And this is it's very easy to fuck this up because you got to work your way through it and kind of feel it. But that's another strategy. But anyway, y'all, I've been on here an hour and a half. My brother is calling me, so I gotta go. So I appreciate it, man. This is Edward signing off. Peace.